Now here we are at the end of the Circle of Three series. This is book 15, Initiation, the last book in the series. And I'll be talking about this book as well as doing a little retrospective on the entire series here and what I thought of it. So Initiation, last book. This is taking place around the time when the three girls have gotten to the end of their year and a day of study. And they're getting ready for initiation into an actual coven. Want to point out here, since I have it, on the cover here, we have the three girls, Annie, Kate, Cooper. Also want to point out, they have these symbols at the top of them. These are the same symbols that appeared in book 1. So mode it be, stars for Annie, heart for Kate, and fire for Cooper. Thought that was a nice little callback. And so we got the main storyline here is the initiation. So how this goes is that at the Crohn's Circle bookstore, the class, which is Kate and Annie, Cooper at the end of the previous book was told that they think she's not ready for initiation. They have not really told her why, they just say they have a feeling. So we have Cooper, or rather Annie and Kate, as well as I think 5 or 6 others in the class. And they're spending a few weeks left in class, and they're going to talk about the various covens in the area they might join. There are 5 covens. Let's see, where they have first the coven for Sophia, the main person at the bookstore. Her coven is called the Daughters of the Cauldron. Very loose, eclectic group. Everyone kind of does what they want in that. No real specific focus. There's the Coven of the Green Wood that we've seen previously. We get a bit more information about them. They're apparently a teaching coven, also pretty eclectic, but trying to act as educational coven for different students. And then 3 covens we haven't seen before, or probably haven't. Freya's Circle, focusing on the Norse gods and goddesses. There's also, let's see, there were those 3. The Starhaven Coven, which is more formal than the first 3. It's Gardnerian, meaning it follows in the tradition of Gerald Gardner, the founder of modern Wicca. And lastly, there is the Children of the Goddess, a younger group mainly formed by college students. Those are the 5 in the area. And everyone at the Crone Circle group has to think about which coven they want to join, be initiated into, and go. Now, Kate and Annie both have some problems. Kate is thinking about joining the Coven of the Green Wood where Tyler is. And also, she has some interactions with Tyler, possibly going on another date with him despite their problems in breaking up. And Kate discovers through various discussions and looking inward that she's trying to go for the Coven of the Green Wood and Tyler for the same reasons. They're familiar to her and therefore safe, but she finds out neither of them really is the right one for her. And she shouldn't go to them just because they're safe or familiar. So without that one, she's kind of lost in what coven she wants to pick. Annie, similarly, is kind of lost. she is thinking about going toward one of the covens, but she similarly is just kind of uncertain. She doesn't know why she wants to go for one or the other, and eventually decides none of them are right for her. So she's kind of panicked also about what to do. Cooper, interestingly, gets some ideas, partly from Jane, that maybe she doesn't need to be in a coven to be a witch. Maybe she can be covenless or form her own coven, since there's no particular central authority on Wicca that exists. So why can't she do that? And so she goes to Sophia at the bookstore, talking about how she doesn't need to be in a coven, doesn't need this initiation, and wants to join her own. She comes off initially as kind of harsh with that, then apologizes, but stays steady that she thinks she doesn't need to have initiation to feel like a witch. But Sophia reveals that now she's invited for initiation, because the reason Cooper was not initially invited was that the coven members felt like her stage fright from the previous book must not have been her real challenge, her real greatest fear, because it seemed a bit too easy for her, because they knew she was a passionate person, very headstrong, very go-getter type. And they suspected that her real fear was not going through initiation. So they kind of told her she can go through initiation to challenge her in that way. And now she's faced that, now she's invited to initiation again. But Cooper herself, she doesn't really know if any of the groups are for her. So the three girls, all three conveniently, don't know any coven they want to be in and don't know what to do. Toward the end of the book, and there's the big reveal at the end, it turns out that one of the other members of Sophia's coven, Archer, has been thinking of splitting off from that coven's group and forming her own group. Conveniently enough. And this new group is supposed to be for helping younger witches find their way in Wicca and figure out what they want to do. And eventually the three girls decide they're going to join that coven, along with several members from the other covens who also want to go into there. And that's their initiation. And that's where the book ends, with initiation into that coven and saying that this is just the beginning of their journey, not the end. Which is kind of a nice ending, I think. Let's see, was there anything else big going on in here? A few little things here and there. Aunt Nettie still having her interest in Wicca. She's making a photographic book about Wicca around the world, women in Wicca. Annie's Aunt Sarah. Aunt Sarah? Yeah, Aunt Sarah is going through with her wedding in this book. Quite a neat kind of wedding. They have a kind of Mad Hatter, Alice in Wonderland theme. And they get Sophia and Thatcher from the Wicca groups to minister it, because the minister they were planning got sick at the last minute. It goes well, fun. And it turns out that Cooper, her father, is dating someone. He's dating Amanda Barclay, the news reporter from previous books. Cooper initially is very much angry at this, but she very slightly warms up to Amanda, because Amanda has been planning to go into some music journalism, wants to do a piece about Cooper and Jane for Rolling Stone magazine, which is pretty huge. Also, Cooper and Jane get invited by a female rock star to play a small set at a few of her concerts on the West Coast, which their parents agreed to. So lots of stuff looking up for everybody. Cooper having a great music career. Annie, her aunt getting married. Kate, her parents not necessarily fully accepting all this, but letting her do as she wills through this. So I thought this was quite a nice ending to the book, tied up quite a bit, and also left room for imagination for the future. You know, is Sasha going to be in the next round of Year and a Day at a Crown Circle? Becca, who's going to be Annie's new cousin, also thinking of that, and they're moving to Beecher Falls. And Kate's friends, Jessica and Tara, maybe also getting involved. Well, that's much more left loose. One thing that I thought was going to happen from the previous book, I thought Sherry might show up a bit more and somehow be presented with more tolerance in some sense, but that didn't really happen, so that prediction was wrong. And that's the end of the series. And I thought I may as well do a very small retrospective on what this series was like. So we started out with So Mote It Be, book 1, where Kate finds a spell book, gets some problems casting spells, and gets joined by Annie and Cooper to form a little group curious about Wicca. Book 2, Merry Meet, where they meet their first covens. They meet Tyler here, and they explore Wicca a little bit more, find out a bit more about what it's like. Book 3, Second Sight, where Cooper has experiences with a ghost, which didn't come up very much after this book. Kind of would have been interested to see some more stuff pop up about that later, but quite an action-y read. Very nice. Although also from the previous book, we get to meet Sasha. Almost forgot about that from book 2. Real firecracker of a girl. Book 4, What the Cards Said, where Annie explores tarot, and we get a bit more exploration of the girls' personal lives with their friends at school. One of my favorite books, book 5, In the Dreaming, the Midsummer Festival, which we still didn't figure out how much of that was actually real and how much it was just like dreams, or if any of it was super real, as in actual fairies. No idea. Book 6, Ring of Light, where we have Aunt Nettie, her ordeal, and Kate's parents finding out a little bit about this Wicca stuff happening. Book 7, Blue Moon, where Kate has her foray with Freya. Kind of a weird book, I thought. Still do. Not really bad, just kind of weird compared to the rest of the series. Book 8 of the 5 Paths, with Cooper's look into what Wicca is as perceived by the broader community, and a bit about her identity as a Wiccan or a potential Wiccan. Book 9, Through the Veil, where Annie has experiences with her parents, dealing somewhat finally with the feelings she has from the past. Book 10, Making the Saint, where we find a little bit about Santeria, about other kinds of religions, and where we get a bit more development with Cooper and Jane, her as a new individual, and also explore a bit about the whole ordeal with Kate, Annie, and Tyler, and how that dynamic plays out. Book 11, The House of Winter, another interesting book in where it takes place, a bit more action-y, though also the action kind of strange in how it was handled, with the kids not informing the adults experienced witches until kind of late. Book 12, Written in the Stars, with the exploration of astrology, concepts of fate, Annie finding out about her past, and so on. Book 13, And It Harm None. And here, we get, oh yes, almost forgot about this one actually. Well, it was pretty recent. Another kind of action book where we look at the girls' personal lives and Sasha's friend Mallory coming to town and exploring that aspect of her past. Book 14, The Challenge Box, with the girls' final challenges and Annie meeting her sister. And finally, book 15, Initiation, where it all ends. And we get the final end to the girls' journeys. So a little bit more than a year in the chronology of the books, from beginning to end. Also a little bit more than a year in the book publishing. I believe these were all written or published in the space of a single year or so. Quite impressive, actually, 15 books in just over a year, about a book a month. And I'd say this is a lovely book series, quite entertaining, quite a lot to take out of this, whether a teenager or adult, all ages. So highly recommend. Now, past this point, don't know if I'm going to continue with these book reviews. This was kind of fun, bit of an experiment for me. Maybe I'll come back with some more later on, with some books I like otherwise. But as for Circle of Three, beautiful series, highly recommended. You can still find, I think, all the books as ebooks, and at least the first few, not sure about the rest. And of course, getting them secondhand is also possible. So, hope that anyone watching this liked these reviews, hope this was helpful, and hope that if you check out these books, they make you feel entertained.